here because me and Zach Tordowski were talking about this yesterday. This call should be the most important call in everybody's schedule every single week because building and teaching people how to build properly is what drives growth for your agency and the company as a whole. So you guys that are in here need to do a really good job at making sure that you're getting all of your leaders in here because the way that you get to the next level is by keeping your mind open and continuing to get better and learn from people that are a lot more ahead than you in this business. So it's really important to make sure that all of your guys are in here or anybody that you're looking to develop. So go ahead and blast out those last second messages. I'm going to give this 1 minute. Let's try to get this to 100 because I just prepared this whiteboard behind me for 30 minutes. So if we're not at 100, I'm not sure if I'm going to want to start this call up. Let's go, 20 more. Let's go, 10 more. Everybody drop in the chat what city they're coming in from. Let's see where everyone's scattered at. Baltimore, see you, Mike. A lot of Arizona. Wow, a lot of Scottsdale. All right, AZ showing up at the call. Texas, ATL. We just opened an office in ATL. A lot of Florida. Detroit, Kentucky, my hometown. All right, we're at 101 people. Let's fire this thing up, guys. So, welcome to today's Builders Call. My name is Ronnie Salem, 2024 MVP of Family First Life. So, what I'm going to be going over with you all today is building the battleship. So, the reason I use terms like that is because I grew up in a military household, and that's kind of how I was disciplined. Everything was in military terms. My grandfather was very high up in the Air Force, so everything I think in my business is almost like a military term. So when I came into this business and I decided to go full time, the vision that I had was I wanted to build an agency so strong that it was going to be like a battleship. If anything got in its way or anything tried to attack it from the sides, it would get leveled. That's the mindset that I had when I came to this business. That was my vision. I wanted to build something so strong that it was going to have power, precision, and presence. And that precision, I wanted it so laser focused that if you shot it like a laser, it's going to go right through your eyes. That's how much I was focused on precision and making sure that I was building this thing as strong as possible. So these are all of the key things that I put into play into my business to take my agency last year from $88,000 a month to 1.4 million, capping off that MVP run in 2024 to now scaling an agency from 1 to 4 million in 6 months. These are the things that I put into play step by step, learning this from some of the best in the business, starting with Zach Tordowski, my mentor, and others like Sean Mike that I talk to now on almost a daily basis. So the biggest thing that building comes down to, guys, is proof of belief in your mindset. You have to believe in yourself because I made a video about this on my Instagram the other day. In 2023, when I started, everybody said that nobody makes money. In 2024, they said I was the only one that makes money. In 2025, there's 5 people in the agency this year that will make over $1 million. Now everybody's asking where to sign up. But when you guys start something early on, everybody's going to run their mouth. That's how business is. Everybody told me that this is that, or like I still get DMs in my Instagram from fake profiles that are trying to troll. People will go out of their way to tear you down. You have to have a bulletproof mindset and believe in yourself because that's what it comes down to. Like 2 years ago, I thought making 100K a month was something, 100K a year, sorry, was amazing till I started seeing people making it in a week here in this business. You have to have that mindset and believe because you have to believe in this business in order to see it. You cannot limit yourself up here and you need to cancel the noise outside early on because you are going to hear a lot of it. Now there's nothing that can phase me. The way I look at it is I'm so battle tested in this business that there's nothing except the Most High that could throw me off of my feet, because that's how confident I show up every day. You will not outwork me. You will not outbelieve me. You will not outthink me. You will not out nothing. That's how high the confidence is, and that's what you need in this business. You need to be confident in yourself. Now, step one, if you guys are writing stuff down, real leaders, they don't just show up to clock in, they show up to kill. That's my intention every single day. I'm not just showing up, I'm showing up with intention. I'm getting 2 people paid today. My day's in order. I already know what lies ahead of me. I'm not just showing up without a game plan. Most people, they show up from 9 to 7 in this business, or even 9 to 5. Some of you all that act like you're doctors in here. You show up 9 to 5 with zero game plan. I show up with intention. On my door it says I'll work everyone over here, and on the other side it says give everything. I'll leave tonight, depending on what time the work gets finished. Today, I actually have to go to corporate to visit tomorrow, but I leave when the work is finished. Most of you all in here, you leave at 5 o'clock, and you just leave because the time is done. You will never get anywhere in this business if that's your mindset. I work when the job is finished, whether it's 9 o'clock or 10:30 at night. Whatever is what on my list is finished, that's when I leave here, not when a certain time zone. Not when it's 5 o'clock, not when it's 6 o'clock. So you have to show up with intention in this business, and you have to show up to kill. Now, the biggest thing that most people mix up when it comes to building is they think that building is just recruiting people and just throwing them in the pipeline. If you think that's what this business is, unfortunately, you will fail miserably. So you need to do it step by step. And this is what's allowed me to 1000x last year and over 200x so far in the first 6 months of this year. You need to lead like a leader. So step one is going to be putting up 40K a month like clockwork. I was told early on in the business that you need to put up 40K a month till your team gets to $1 million a month. Why? When I was at 500K a month, I was already pushing 6 figures a month in net income. I didn't need to put up 40K a month. I didn't need to make a Hall of Fame run last year, my first year while scaling the agency, but I needed to lead. That's what most people mix up in this business, is that they think because they're making enough money, they don't need to lead. Making enough money and leading do not correlate with each other. And that's, if your mindset is like that, hey, I don't need to sell anymore because I'm making an X amount of money. Put it this way, your team is going to be a direct resemblance of whatever your leadership is. If you're putting up 15K a month, and in anyone's terms that's higher up in the company, they'll tell you that's nothing. That's nothing special. You should not even be proud of it. I wouldn't even post that shit if it was my numbers. You need to put up 40K a month, because if you're putting up 15K a month, do you think that your team is going to do more than you're showing them how to do? The answer is no. So if you're putting up 15K a month, get ready to lead a team of sheep that are putting up 15K a month, and your leaderboards will never look scary. To get into our top 20 in the playbook, you need to put up 40K minimum. Why? Because I used to sling 50, 60, 70K a month like clockwork while onboarding teams, onboarding 20 people, onboarding 15 people direct a month. You need to do it. And the way that you do it is by being intentional with your time early on as a leader. Now, if you all want this one single tip that I see the most people struggle with in this business, drop some ones. I'm going to show you how to break down your day and to make it freaking bulletproof. This is how I used to clock in after 2 o'clock almost 3 or 4 days a week and still sling 50, 60, 70K a month. Now, the biggest mistake that I see people make in this business is that they're trying to build and sell literally all in one hour and do everything like this and that. Like, it's crazy. So this one single tip changed my trajectory of the business and my schedule for the better. So I was told, whenever you start getting 2, 3 people coming in at a time that are new. So when I say new, in my book, I label as tier one. That means the first 2 weeks, they're new to the business. You need to start splitting your day and focusing on your agents. The way that I do that is I'm present where my feet is. If I'm in the builder's call right now, my office is empty. I'm not listening to anybody sell. I'm not catching up on emails. I'm present here. So this is what you need to do. If you have more than 2 people that are now writing and they're new in tier one in their first 2 weeks, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 9 a.m. to noon, you need to listen to them on the phone and do not sell a single thing. Now, after that 12 o'clock, you break for lunch, right? If you're a real killer, you'll take a 15-minute lunch and you'll take it at your desk, just like I still do and I used to. Now, the biggest thing after that is selling, right? Because that's your bread and butter early on, and forget about the money. You need to lead by example in this business. Or, like I said, you're going to have an army of people that are putting up 15K a month, and you don't want that. The biggest thing after that is selling. From 1 o'clock for me was from 1 to 9 every single day. And I was clocking in to get two every single day after that. I was super intentional about getting two every single day after clocking in because I know I just burnt 4 hours at the beginning of my day. I was going to make up for it by working extra towards the end of the day. Now, that's how you split up your schedule Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday from 9 a.m. to noon or even 1 p.m. Focus on your agents, listen in to them. And the biggest mistake I see when people are doing that is they're cutting their agent off every 5 seconds. So for me, I literally have a notepad that's always on my desk and a pen. I'll write their name. I'll write down Zach, and I'll write down whatever he should have said or done different. In the intro, the tonality was off. He's skipping parts in the script. He didn't ask this question. He didn't challenge the client when they had coverage in place. It's little stuff like that. And then after that, I'm going to give them a game plan of what they could have done better, wherever they could have had corrections. But don't cut them off every 5 seconds. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you need to sell like a dog from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. minimum because it's not a 9 to 5, guys. You got to put in the work. If you want to sling 15K a week, just like I was, you need to put in those hours. And that's how you do it while building and scaling your team is by splitting that time up. So that's super key for me. That changed the game. That's what allowed me to put up 40K a month on average when I finished last year a little bit under 500,000 while scaling the agency from 88K a month at the new year to 1.4 million at the end of the year with 68 writers. I needed to manage my time and I became a master at managing my time. So that's super key early on. You have to manage that time and put up 40K a month. Now, after you're putting in the work, the thing that I love most about this business is that your mentors find you in this business. You don't really have to look for them too much. If you're standing out in this business, your mentors will find you. Now, the biggest key in this business is after knowing how to sell, you need to know how to recruit and build. And the way that you do that is by going to someone that knows how to. So just recently, I wrote a sales journal called The Book of Winning. I've been working on it for like 7 months. One of the slides in there, I wrapped it up when I was in, I'm like the clients. I don't even remember what I ate for breakfast. I don't remember where I was on vacation 2 weeks ago from how much stuff happens in my day. I was in Spain. Yeah, I was in Spain on vacation, still worked 40, 50 hours that week. And I wrapped up the sales journal and I concluded it at 3 o'clock in the morning while I'm on vacation with my family. It kind of tells you about the journey. Like, this is a grind journey, like, still 18 months later, still addicted, still obsessed, committed as ever. And one of the slides said in there, selective hearing, savage results. In this business, you need to be careful who you are listening to and who you are taking instructions from. The thing that I figured out in this business is the people that bark the most are the ones that do the least. So I was very selective over who I was taking my advice from because a lot of people are going to start talking to you and giving you advice that are not even freaking valid. That shouldn't even be allowed to be saying what they're saying. So the biggest thing is I looked for people that were where I wanted to be. So how did I learn how to recruit? I was calling Wiley Hawkins every single night. How did I learn how to build? I was calling Zach Twardowski every single day till I can get this guy to now text me every day. That's how much I was committed about getting my information from the right people. Now look at it. It's like now I have great relationships with those two specifically when it came to the recruiting and building side, and it's allowed me to do what I'm doing is by keeping my mind open and listening to the right people. So you have to have selective hearing to get that savage results in this business because the wrong information is going to get you in the wrong places in this business, and that's the reality of it. So be very careful who you're taking direction from and make sure that the track record is there. Like I said, the people that talk the most are usually the ones that do the least. If you look at the silent killers, like if you looked up Zach Twardowski, you wouldn't even know what he drives unless you know him. That's what you call a silent freaking killer. That's who you should be taking advice from, people that have the track record and not just running their mouth to run it. Now, after that, you need to master the art of communication. If you guys want to figure out this one superpower that I have, that I can pick apart a freaking room when I walk in it, drop whatever you want in the chat. I'm gonna tell you guys what it is. To get to this level, I'm gonna show you what the freaking magic is. It's not the recruiting, the 40K a month. Yeah, all of that plays a part, but this is where the freaking magic happens. You need to master the art of communication. I walked into Sean Mike's house a month after attending my first convention, and 2024, and he made me take this disc exam, and I started realizing why my personality and mindset the way that it was. And I started learning how other personalities work, and I became a master communicator. I started communicating with everybody based off how their personality was. Before, I'm a D, I'm a high D. Basically, that's my personality type. I used to communicate with everybody like a high D. My top leg on my team, Mohammed Raja, does about three quarter of a million a month, and he just started scaling this year. And whenever me and this guy would walk into a room, somebody would have to die unless there was a mediator in there. He's a D and I'm a D, and we would just literally go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it would result in somebody, walking out of the meeting, being highly upset or whatever it is. And I started realizing that I can't communicate with like that anyway. Luckily, he's a D, or he probably would have quit. If I would have communicated like that with some of my other guys early on, they probably wouldn't be here. So I started learning how to communicate with everybody. If I was talking to an I speak to him like an I. And I think something that helped me most with that disc test is like, I put this in an example. Like, I'm a father and I have three boys. Like, if I'm talking to my 2-year-old, I talk to him like a baby. I match his energy the way that he is. It's the exact same concept. So if you're talking to somebody that's a little bit more fragile, you can't pound him with hard coaching 24/7. He's not going to take it right. So you need to talk to him the way that he is. So if I'm talking to somebody on my team that's more quieter, I'm going to speak to him in a slower tone. I'm not going to be screaming. I'm going to speak to him in a slower tone. I'm going to speak to him the way that he speaks. That's really key in business, is knowing how to communicate with everybody. Now I've gotten so good at it, I can walk into a room and tell you what personality type that person is just by looking at him. If you give me 15 seconds to look at him, I can tell you his personality type. Somebody drop that in the chat. After this call, you need to take the DISC test. And if you have leaders on your team, they need to take that as well, so you can understand how to work with each other the best way as possible. Knowing that is super effective to having high communication. Now, from mastering the art of communication, I mastered recruiting. But everybody thinks that mastering recruiting is knowing how to talk to your family or your friend or your cousin at a barbecue. That's not it. You need to master recruiting by land, by sea, and by air. It doesn't matter if you're in front of me right now, sitting by my desk, and I know you, I can talk to you. Doesn't matter if I see you out there in the parking lot, I can talk to you. Doesn't matter if you send me a message on Instagram, I can talk to you. I know how to talk to everybody. And it's very simple. It's like most people, when they're sending out recruiting DMs, are like, oh, I don't know anything about this guy. How can I talk to him? I'll give you guys a simple trick that I use. I go to their profile, like literally 30, 45 seconds before the call. I'll go there, I'll look at a few things, I'll try to find something that's relatable to me, and then I'll start with that. Boom. And then I get to know that person. Like, it's very simple, guys, but sometimes because of the mind, we overcomplicate stuff. I look at their profile, I look at what they have that's relatable to me. I start with that. I ask them what state they're in, how long they've been there. Getting to know somebody, it's very simple. I get to know their personality and I get to know their constraint. That's a simple framework that you need to recruit anybody. Number one is find something that's relatable. Whether if they're at a restaurant, I'm like, hey man, what's a stud like you doing here? I used to own a restaurant, so I can relate to him. After that, so I'm getting to know a little bit about their background. So that's number two in the framework. After that, I'm going to get to know their personality, what they're like, how they operate, what they do. And then number four is I'm getting to know their constraint. There's always two things. Number one, it's going to be time or it's going to be money. Your job is to figure out what their constraint is and how family first life can be the solution to what they're dealing with. That it's very simple, guys. It's a 4-step framework that you need to use to be able to recruit anybody, whether it's by land, sea, or air. Now, given all of that, right, to put all of this into play, you need to still lead by example. Most people think that because they've done this or they've done this or because their team is doing $4 million a month that they don't need to work anymore. I still lead by example. I'm very present here in my agency, in my office, within my group. Like, I don't think just because I'm making whatever multiple seven figures a year that I need to stop showing up. It doesn't work that way, because the reality of this, guys, is a lot of people in here want to say that they want to get to seven figures a year. That's an American dream, to get to seven freaking figures a year. Getting there and duplicating from there, that level is unbearable for most, and that's why they can't get there. So staying there and duplicating is almost 10 times as hard. Like this year, I'm going 10 times as hard as I did last year. So you need to lead by example early on, because if you don't, and you don't continue to lead, getting there and staying there are two different scales. So you do that by leading by example. Most people, they start, the level that I see that it's a danger zone in this business is people start making 50K a month, and then they just spin out of freaking control. They can't control their ego. They can't control their personality. Then everything crashes down. So what you need to know is master your ego. Be selfless in this business and continue to lead. It doesn't matter whether it's a new agent. Like, I sat down and got some training tips from a kid that came in here and just set the FFL company record for fastest rookie to Hall of Fame. If he's in here, Omar, shout out to you, brother. He did it in 6 months. The guy before him did it in 10 months. The guy on our team did it in half of the freaking time. Most of you in here, you have an ego, and because you make 20 times more than what he probably does, you wouldn't be willing to learn and ask him some questions. I sat down with him probably for 10 hours in a span of that week to see what we could do better to get agents to that level even faster. You need to lead and keep your mind open. Just because you're making an X amount of money in this business, do not let it distract you. And I had a training in our office on Tuesday. It's about how keeping the right behavior in this business and keeping a level ego is going to get you to the next level. Like, a lot of people in here, I used to think 10K a month was a lot. And then I started meeting the people that were making 10K a week. And then I started meeting the people that were making 10K a day. So it's like, you need to keep your mindset open. That way you can get to those levels. And you do that by simply just dropping that ego and continuing to lead. Now, this is where the magic happens, guys. A lot of people, the number one mistake, if you want to avoid the number one mistake in this business that I see most builders make, let me see that chat fired up. I'm going to give you guys something that this is probably almost everybody's number one mistake that they make whenever they're building their team. Everybody thinks that everybody thinks that the freaking numbers is what you duplicate. This number doesn't mean anything to me if this behavior is not right. The guy that shows up for freaking 4 hours a day and works 2 to 3 days a week and gets on wherever he wants, doesn't get on any of our trainings, doesn't run any of our trainings with us, and writes 40K a month, you do not want more of that person on your team, because that behavior is not duplicatable. It's going to work for him, but anybody that guy recruits, excuse my language, but they're fucked when they come into the business. You cannot duplicate that behavior. If somebody's showing up for a couple hours a day, 4 or 5 times a week, whenever they want, doesn't get on the trainings, doesn't help you lead anything, that behavior is not duplicatable. Everybody thinks that the recruiting is the magic. The magic is right here. It's finding the behavior that's duplicatable. Once you find that behavior, like, this is what it comes down to, guys, right? Like, I love this office here. This is our HQ. We've got about 200 people between upstairs and downstairs. We're about to expand into even a bigger office at the new year. It's going to be around 20,000 square feet. But outside of the 2 offices that we have right here in this building, there's another 4. That's where the magic is. It's not what you're doing here in your hometown. It's what you're doing outside. So when you can find that right behavior, all your job is to duplicate it. That's how you get something that's massive, something that's huge. That's how you can get to that next level, is by finding the right behavior on your team and duplicating it. I rather have the guys that are doing 20K a month on my team, but they're putting in the hours early on, but they're not firing at those crazy numbers. And I know for a fact it's not a matter of when they're going to get to, it's not a matter of if they're going to get to 40K a month. It's just a matter of when. If the behavior is there, your guys are putting in those hours every day, Their mindset is positive. They're helping others without you asking them to step up. Those are the people that you need more of. It's not the guy that just shows up for himself. So the biggest mistake that I see is everybody mixes those two. They think that putting up 40K a month is the behavior that you need. Yeah, the numbers are there, but it's the behavior there. That's what it comes down to in this business. Is duplicating the right behavior is what's going to get you to the next level. And it's really key after mastering all of these things. Is Sean told me this kind of like this phrase is like he was really set on building his starting five and then building the next after them, and then it's like an NBA game. That's how I think of it. I want a very dominant five, and then I'm looking for the next. I'm looking for the next what whoever the next big thing is out there to hop in there and rotate. Like I want a very strong starting five, and the way that I wanted it, this battleship to operate is if I called up the starting five and FFL got pulled into war and they called the playbook agency's battleship, if that starting five showed up, the entire playing field would get leveled. If we called up the next five, the entire playing field would get leveled again, and so forth, going in depth, like literally 20 down, like the top 25, if you look at it, to get into the top 10, like if you're not putting up 300K in our managers list, you don't even get into the top 10, 15. That's how committed I was to working in depth. And the one thing that I'm going to leave with you guys with before I open it up to some questions for about 15 minutes is this is going to be your call to action after this call. I'm going to drop it in here in a message. So the biggest thing that helped me operate at the level that I'm at now is I'm going to leave you guys with this is I have a whiteboard and I have my entire team mapped out on it. It's the exact same way that Sean mapped the company out early on in the early days. He listed out all his legs. And when I say duplicating the right behaviors, you don't just stop at that one person that's direct. He was really committed to working 3 and 4 deep. So I just logged in from my phone. This is going to be your all's call to action after this call. Is you need to build and track like a CEO. So everybody go look at the chat and screenshot what I just dropped in there. Drop some ones if anybody could see it, because right now I'm on my phone. Looks like it's loading. There we go. Everybody in there see it? So you need to build and track like a CEO. This is your all's call to action after this call. Visualize your team and look at who's coming up next. So you need to be very intentional about developing and continuing to develop the next round of guys. That's how you're going to get to the next level in this business, and that's how you're going to build something special. So for me, that's been something that's been really big. I look at that whiteboard. It's you can't see it's behind the whiteboard, but I look at that whiteboard almost every single day, and that's how I'm able to stay organized at the level that I'm at now. It's just preparation and being organized is key, because the prepared will always smash the unprepared in this business. And that's how it's always going to work. The way that you get to the next level is you out prepare everybody else, you outwork them. That's all it is in this business, is that you don't need a superpower. 2.5 years ago, I was flipping freaking pizzas at a restaurant that I owned for 5 years that I was miserable in. I didn't come in here with any experience. You don't need any experience to operate at this level in this business, but you need to have the right intention. A lot of people think that somebody has a superpower. This guy's doing that, or this guy gets this. There's nothing special in this business. You do not need anything special in this business to get to the level that I'm at. There's zero things that I had that could give you a good sales background or give you a sales resume. I didn't have any sales experience. I came in here with restaurant knowledge. That doesn't help you in sales. But I did come in here and I kept my mind open. I continue to learn. I continue to learn every day. I'm coachable. I leave my ego on the side. I lead like a leader. That's what it all is in this business. And then the proof of concept in your mind. You have to develop that bulletproof mindset. Everybody in here is in here for a reason. Believe in yourself and you will get to the next level. Just stay surrounded by the right people. And I promise you, every single year, you will continue to grow and grow and grow. And this is a halfway mark for the year. Everybody's looking at their numbers and you might not be where you're at. In Q4 of last year, the team doubled from 600,000, more than doubled, 600,000 to 1.4 million. Nobody freaking talks about the guy that started the racing first. Nobody cares about that guy. They only care about how you finish. And this is the last half of this quarter in Q3, and then Q4 is the most important quarter of the freaking year. Everybody's out celebrating holidays and taking their foot off the gas. That's where you need to go double down. And the second half of the year is when I double down, because it's my favorite part of the year, because I know all of the people have taken their foot off the gas. They're getting ready to go out for the summer. They're getting ready to take off for holidays. This is where the savages are born. So this last part of the year, everybody in here needs to double down and continue to focus on those goals, so you can take the people that are depending on you and counting on you to show up every single freaking day to the next level. And if you do that, you're going to go from slinging 40K months as a producer to seeing 40K deposits in a single day. Now, if anyone in here has questions for the last, what time is it? 15 minutes, I'm going to take some Q&A. So I'm going to start with J, A, and P. You can find the recording on Zach Twardowski's YouTube. I think it goes up like after 24 hours. All of the Builders Call recordings are there, and we've got a lot of special stuff that are actually about to be implemented in the Builders Call too. So if you had to start over, what would you do? So Zach, I was part-time in this business for 1 year. The thing that I would have done if I would have started over quicker is like when I came in, my upline Mahmoud Nasser was always number one on the leaderboard. Wiley Hawkins was up there with him. Like, it was there. I saw these guys doing well, but the thing is I stayed part-time for a year because I wasn't the 22-year-old kid that's dropping out of law school again. Like, now I have a family. The wrong decision would have a severe repercussion. But I didn't believe in the business early on. So the way that you get around that is you commit. When I committed after attending my first convention and I put up $81,000 in a month, I made $45,000 a month net. Now I'm committed because I seen it. So you need to just see it to believe in this business. And the biggest mistake that I made was being part-time and not believing. So the belief level in this business is the biggest thing. Believe the people that brought you in, believe the business, believe the company. Like, nobody in here is going to let you down or let you fail as long as you're showing up every single day. Now, the next one, my question, how many support staff do you have and you require your agents to work from the office? So this is a superpower, right? So this is how I got stuck at 300,000 for 3 months. And in Q2 of last year, I scaled to 300,000 and I got stuck there for 3 months. And what I realized is I can't do everything on my own. I used to fall asleep at the office. I used to fall asleep on my couch every single day at 2 a.m. with my laptop in my lap. Now, I still fall asleep with my laptop on my lap. So, that didn't change, but it's like I was a lot more stressed back then. So it's like the biggest thing is now it's a superpower. You guys see me up here, but when I'm competing, you're not competing with me. There's 8 people on my staff, on my payroll that you're competing with. You're not just competing with me that you see in front of you. There's 8 people behind me that are literally hitting the land, the sea, the air. We're hitting everything in every single direction. So staff is a superpower, guys. And the way that you start with staffing is whenever you're making net 10, 15K a month, we always recommend our guys here at the Playbook to start getting their first admin. What you need to do is get somebody that's going to manage your book of business as your producer, because early on you're still going to be producing. You need to have somebody that's sending out recruiting DMs for you. And if you're building early on, have them track your debt. Now, what does it look like after that? Now there's 2 admins on the team contracting. Now there's 2 people in managing new agents, like a lot of stuff that we do and specifically. And then there's people managing social media. I have 2 people that manage my account, the team account, and then I have 2 people that shoot the content. So it's like all of this is a superpower. And then the last thing that I implemented when I got to that 7-figure level was a personal assistant, because you can't do everything on your own. Like, I can't manage my business, my staff, and my personal life and have 650 people on the team all at once. You need help. So the staff is going to be the help in the pipeline. And the one thing that I've done really well with the staff is continuing to put people where they're good at, is dividing and conquering. Most people, they don't have a system set up. So they're really confused on what they should be doing. I don't see what Ronnie posted. Got it. When should someone get stuff? We just answered that. So the 15K level, if you want to scale from 15,000 in net income a month, you need to get your first staff person. If someone is brand new to entrepreneurship, what are some things you do to help shift their mindset away from the 9 to 5? So this passage is huge, right? I was told if you treat this like a business, it'll pay you like a business. If you treat it like a 9 to 5, it'll pay you like a 9 to 5. And if you treat it like a hobby, it's going to pay you like a hobby. And hobbies don't pay. So whatever you put into it is whatever you're going to get out. So how do you treat it like a 9 to 5? How do you not treat it like a 9 to 5? Is by putting those hours in. Like for me, I treat this like a corporate job, but like on steroids. I show up from 9 to 7 every day, and then I take a 2 hour break, or else my family wouldn't want me in this business anymore, because I try to at least come home for dinner at least 3 times a week. So I'll work 9 to 7, and then me and Zach have a late night shift that's called the second shift, and I will work from like 9 to 11, 9 to midnight. So just by splitting up your day, man, and if you have a family, all you have to do is just be intentional the days that you're home. Like when I'm home from 7 to 9, I throw my phone upstairs at the dresser and I don't even look at it. What's the blueprint to get from 15K to 40K personal production? So this is what I love so much about this business, guys, right? It's lead based. Leads are like a freaking superpower. It's very simple. More leads, more conversations, more people to the numbers, more closes. More, more, more. Just buy more leads. And the way that I explain leads to reps is I want everybody to look across of where they're sitting at right now and picture a magic ATM. And this is what I used to do when I was putting up 50, 60K a month, like clockwork every single month while scaling the team. If you put into it $8,000 a month every single month, and it spits back at you $40,000 in net income a month, would everybody in here be willing to put anywhere from $1,000 to $2,000 a week into that magic ATM? Drop some ones if that's a yes. There's nobody that should say no to that. How do you create and protect your office culture so well? So that's key, guys. That's a great question, Wiley. The office culture is key. And the reason I see some offices kind of like maybe not as like you guys have a great one in Austin, we have a great one in Philly, but the reason I see some offices like lacking culture and energy is because they've allowed the wrong people in there for too long. So if everybody in here knows what cancer is, think of the wrong people in your business like a cancer. It starts off small and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. Now you're not able to control it, and now it's affected the whole body. So whenever there's a cancer in here, we remove them right away. And then on our office rules, we have a banner as soon as you walk in. If you don't produce 15K a month in Playbook headquarters, you do not have a spot here. You are not welcome to dial in our office if you're not putting up 15K a month. Now, some of you in here might think this guy's fucking crazy that's on the tablet. But hey, we have standards, and that's why we're at where we're at right now, with an average of 12 to 15K a writer. The standards are high, and we don't let anybody come in here and disrespect it. And hopefully no one gets upset at this, but if you're writing 15K a month in this business, you're not even working. So you need to check yourself. And if you're allowing that in your office, that's what you're going to get in result. People that do not have standards or any intention or any goals in their life. How did you get better at sales, and how did you scale your personal production? So just man, like I would sleep watching like Grady's YouTube videos. I would fall asleep like listening to guys on Zoom, listening to the team calls over and over, just by continuing to be coachable, man. Find somebody in your Zoom and just go listen to them. Whenever they're presenting, put your headset down and take notes. We'll take a couple more. What mental blocks do you see holding people back the most that prevent them? So the mental block, this is a good question. We went over it a little bit. The mental block that I see most people make is they get to that level. Like I said, that 50K a month level in this business is the danger zone. Either you skyrocket up or you skyrocket all the way down on your ass. That's because people's ego gets ahead of them. Like I'll tell you guys a story. I've never posted a commission statement in my life while I've been here, and we've been able to onboard 664 people this year. You don't need to show off with your ego. And the way that I look at it now, like for these guys that are posting multiple six-figure commission statements, I post my guys that make 6 figures a month. If you only have yours to post, that means nobody makes money on your team. So getting that ego out of your way is key. And just highlighting the people, like people want to see the results you provided because they want you to provide a result for them. If you're showing somebody a high commission statement that you deposited 300, 400K, that's not even effective because that's a top 1% level. And the way you do that and dropping that ego to not get ahead of yourself is by continuing to show people off on your team that are doing well, not just yourself. Because that's how you get proof of concept if you think about the psychology of what you're doing. How do I get tracked to open an office in South Jersey? So I would say, man, get to 3 to 5 writers. Our first office was very small, 1,500 square feet. After that, we scaled to 10. After that, we scaled to 6,000, and then 10,000 with the second one, and now we're at 25 at the new year. So just trust the process, man, and make adjustments as needed in the business because that's key. You have to be able to adjust and be able to adjust early on before you start seeing any unforeseen problems. What helps you stay is level and headed and maintain willpower when curveballs are thrown at you? How do you bounce back and stay locked in? So, unfortunately, in this business, you're going to put out a lot of fires. The bigger that you get, the more problems that you deal with. That's normal in business. I know that. So, like, whenever I think of something, it's like, it goes back to this, right? The master of communication. Like, what are you going to deal with most when you're building an agency? This guy's out talking about you. This guy's running his mouth to your guy, whatever. Like, I use Sean Mike's rule of thumb. Unless you hit a woman or killed a baby, like I don't. It's not that deep for me. Like, I'm not gonna get mad at you. I'm not gonna walk into the office and point you out in front of everybody, and make a fool out of you. Like, that's a superpower for me. Like, I could know that, let's say Cameron Johnson is in here and he's talking behind my back, behind this whiteboard, and I can go out there in that hallway and still laugh and smile with him. That's a superpower. When you know how to do that, that's a superpower. But most people, they self-destruct their teams because this guy was out running his mouth about something petty. Who cares? That's how I think about it. But that is all I've got for you guys today. This will be up on YouTube a little bit later. Appreciate you guys. I'm about to head out to corporate for a podcast that should be out soon. And everybody, let's make it a great week. Remember, it's a new week. Whatever happened last week is done. Different week, different mindset, different result.